45-year-old outreach coordinator, Monessa Fong, is suing her ex-boyfriend, 33-year-old counselor Albert Chung, for injuries she received during a sexual assault.
Order. All rise. This is case number 112 on the calendar in the matter of Fong versus Chung. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Ms. Fong, you tell a very, very aggressive story about actions taken by the defendant, who was then your boyfriend. For some reason, which I'm sure you will explain, you decided that you didn't want to prosecute this case criminally. Is that right?
Yes.
When did this incident take place?
January 27.
Tell me what happened on January 27th.
Defendant Albert Chen, he discovered that I was going to display clothes at a ballroom dance school, and he became very jealous, and
He went with you?
he insisted he has to go. While we were there, he took me into a storage room. He started screaming at me, calling me names. He also attempted to burn my clothes and burn my face using a lighter.
In the storage room?
Yes, he tried to injure me and burn my face.
You managed to get free, according to your complaint, from the storage room. Is that right?
Yes, there are people there, and people knocked on the door. He left, and when I tried to leave, he was there behind my car.
And he got into the car with you?
Yes, so I gave him a ride home. While I was driving, he blew anger at me. He punched in the windshield and tried to break the window. He also pulled the handbrake, tried to stop the car, and he yelled at me and tried to grab me out of the car. He said he wanted to die with me. And there are policemen behind us, and they took him out of the car.
And you were actually taken into custody. Is that right, sir?
No, the police took me out because I have a open can of the beer, and then they thought I was drunk, but
Where did they put you, Mr.
on the
Chung?
street.
They left you just on the street?
On the street.
You left, is that right?
I told the policeman I was very scared. I do not want the defendant to be in my car again. The police officers told me I could file a police report. And
Did you do that?
yes, I went to a local station and filed a police report
That night?
that night. And an emergency restraining order was granted to me that night.
And what happened when you got home?
When I stepped into my house, it was close to 2 o'clock in the morning. I heard defendant Albert Chen leave a message on my recording. He sounded angrily on the phone. He threatened me to pick up the phone. I did not pick up the phone. 15 minutes later, the doorbell rang. I knew it was him, so I did not answer. And I tried to call 911. And defendant called in my phone at the same time, so I could not dial out. He threatened me to give him $35 for the taxi fare.
For the cab fare?
Yes, I refused, but he threatened that he'll make a scene out of it and wake up my neighbors. So I brought the money out and gave it to him. He forced his way in. Once he's inside, he grabbed on me and threw me on the ground. He got on top of me. He twisted my wrist. He injured my spine and my joint. And he attempted to rape me by pulling down and ripping my pants. And I brought my evidence of the ripped and torn pants.
I don't have to see them.
The elastic was broken.
Go ahead.
And I started screaming, and he stopped. For the rest of the night, he abused me by threatening me to drain the toilet cleaner. He forced me to smell lighter gas. He threatened me that if I reported to police, he would kill me.
How did it come about that he left your apartment?
My mother called about 9 o'clock in the morning. The first time he did not let me answer the phone. I said, if I don't answer, my mother will call the police. Then he let me answer the phone. My mother said she was coming over. So then the defendant left. And I called the police and made the second police report. But I told the police officers that I do not want him to be arrested because I was too scared that this guy will retaliate.
Let me see the police report.
This is the first police report. This is the second one. And the bottom is stated that I asked the officer to not arrest the defendant.
Why?
Because I was too terrified.
Then why do you come to court now, Ms. Fong?
Because it's 4 months after, and also putting him in jail is very intense, that he will become very angry and retaliate. I also have the photos of the policeman took on me. It was kicking on my face that was injured. Also on the damaged carpet, on the damaged closet door, and the damaged portable closet, and also the burned clothes. The policeman also took his lighter and burned clothes for evidence.
All right, Mr. Chung, I have a couple of questions for you, sir, because I've read your answer. Now, there is no question that you did, in fact, pull the emergency brake. Is that right?
Yeah, I did pull the emergency brake, the handbrake, yes. I want to mention why I need to pull the handbrake, because I told her to stop the car because I feel we were arguing in her car and she drives pretty dangerous. That's why
I read your story. That's not a reason to pull a handbrake.
Okay.
She hadn't been drinking that night you had. You had an open can of beer, is that right?
Right.
Okay. So the police took you out of the car. And how long did you stand out on the street waiting for a taxi cab?
Around like an hour and a half.
And you were very angry at that time.
Yes, I was angry.
Then why did you go to her house that night?
Because
there's no question that you went back to her house. Is that right?
Right.
Now, you didn't live with her.
I did not live with her.
Then why did you go back to her house after being very angry? Listen to me, Mr. Chung, because I'm very smart. You tried to get out of the car. She wouldn't let you out of the car, according to you. You were so frightened of the way she was driving erratically that you pulled the emergency brake on the car, according to you. Is that right?
Yes.
The police came and rescued you. Is that right?
No,
they rescued you by getting you out of the car. Is that right?
Right, that's getting me out.
That's according to you. They rescued you by getting you out of the car. Now you're rescued. She can't hurt you anymore with the car. So, quiet.
Excuse me.
Stop. I'm speaking.
Okay.
So you're standing outside it for an hour and a half, and it's very late at night.
And
About
very
midnight?
cold. And midnight.
And very cold.
And really, really cold.
And
freezing.
you don't live with her.
No.
Then why don't you go home?
Because...
No, look at me. Why don't you go home?
Because I was angry, and I heard she told the police I'm making trouble on her, and I was angry. I just wanted to go to her
So
home
you were angry.
Right.
So now you arrive at her house after having had a little to drink, being out in the cold for an hour and a half, and you're very angry. And what do you do when you get to the house, Mr. Chung?
I want to talk to her.
What do you do? Did you call her and tell her you wanted $35 for a cab?
Oh, I did.
She gave you the $35 for the cab. Is that right?
Right.
Was the cab waiting for you?
They kept waiting for me.
And then you went back upstairs.
Right.
Why did you go back to her apartment?
I was angry, and I know I was stupid. I go back to her house.
So what did you do to her when you got to the apartment?
I argued with her.
Tell me how you argued with her,
Okay.
sir.
I told her, you know, how come she just ignoring me? And when the police come, she told the police just don't know me, something like that, just like her, just like friend.
Are you telling me, sir, that you didn't put your hands on her?
Oh, I never put my hand on her.
No, he's lying.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Manessa Fong says ex-boyfriend Albert Chung injured her during a sexual assault. Manessa says Albert terrorized her over the course of 24 hours.
How long did you stay there that evening?
All night.
Did she ask you to leave?
She never asked me to leave.
That's a lot of baloney, sir. That's baloney. Because even if you were only arguing with her verbally, she would have asked you to leave.
She didn't ask me to leave. She let me sleep in her living room at the floor. She told me, because I'm legally blind, I'm visually impaired, I cannot drive, and it was late, around like 2 o'clock, and she let me sleep in her living room, and next morning she woke me up, and then and I left. But we were arguing for a long time.
Right.
Right.
Why do you believe that Miss Fong would have made 2 police reports if you had not threatened her?
Because when the argument, by the time, my language was very strong and insulting her, and she was angry. And I just want to make sure you understand, I didn't do anything physically.
I don't believe that, sir.
her,
I believe that you did something physically to her. I believe that you did. I believe that you went there that night and you were very, very angry.
Right.
And when you are very, very angry, based upon something that you did earlier that evening, you, for whatever reason, wanted her to stop the car, and you pulled the emergency brake up. You could see good enough to pull up the emergency brake.
I don't need to see, I can feel it.
just like you can feel her face. You pulled up the emergency brake, which means, Mr. Chung, that you have a temper. And what she did later on that evening, which was, according to you, felt sorry for you and let you sleep on the floor of her apartment, that doesn't sound like the kind of woman who would not let you out of a car if you wanted to get out of the car. So you got a temper. You've got a temper.
What's
And I
temper
believe
mean?
that you punched the windshield on the car. Didn't break it, but I believe that you punched it.
I did.
Sure, because you have a temper. And that was before you were standing outside for an hour and a half in the cold at 1 o'clock in the morning. That was before. After you were really mad because she was ignoring you in the ballroom, right? Mm-hmm. Good. You better stay away from her because, you see this judge? You may get some very nice judge if you go near her again. You may get somebody who will be very sympathetic with the fact that you tell them that you can't see, you're legally blind, you're a poor soul, all right? You can't put your hands on anybody. Never. In anger. And get away with it. And I'm just very sorry that she didn't follow through. But I tell you something else. If you ever go near her again, ever, it is very possible that you're going to get unlucky and get somebody just like me. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. And if you get somebody just like me, you're going to go to jail. And they don't care what your handicaps are. Do you understand?
Yes.
Keep your hands to yourself and stay far away from her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000 as requested. Stay away from her.
Thank you, Your
Parties
Honor.
are excused. You may step out.
I was terrified. The defendant was threatening me if I arrest him and put him in jail, he will kill me and my family.
I didn't do it. And if I did it, after the police did the full investigation, I already been in the jail.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of McCall versus Wilhelm, step forward, please.
71-year-old Bourbon McCall is suing his former friend, 32-year-old student Sandra Wilhelm, for unpaid loans and the cost of a car. Sandra says Bourbon's lawsuit is an attempt to keep her in his life.
Mr. McCall, it is your claim in this complaint that you were romantically involved with the defendant and made a series of loans to her, including a car.
Yes, ma'am.
Then she broke it off, and you want your money back.
Yes, Your Honor.
When and where did you meet Mr. McCall?
I met Sandra at a local pub that we both frequented
Okay. When?
sometime in March, Your Honor.
And when did you make this first loan?
Well, the first thing that happened, I had bought a computer, and Sandra agreed to come over and download it for me. Then she'd had an accident, and she had picked up a DUI, and her car was wrecked. So I then called her and asked her if I could be of any help to her. She said, well, my mother's got a car, that 88 Crown Victoria. Her mother was asking $2,300 for the car. I gave Sandra $2,300. We went in. She gave us the title. We then proceeded to go down and get it plated and titled.
Did you expect Miss Wilhelm to pay you back the money?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Did you ever tell her that?
Yes, I
No,
did,
you
Your
didn't.
Honor.
Shh, quiet. When did you tell her that?
I told her that before we bought the car. I said,
What
if
did you say?
I said, if we buy a car, I'll help you get a car. But I said, I want title to that car. She said, well, how am I going to get plates and insurance and the rest of it? Why don't we just purchase a vehicle? You'll have the first lien on the vehicle so that I'm protected.
The truth of the
That-
matter is, you really are not terribly protected. All you are, if you have title to the car, is you're exposed in case she has an accident, in case she doesn't get insurance.
Well, she did that.
I know, but that's a
was-
problem. Miss Wilhelm, first of all, how old are you?
32.
How old are you, sir?
71.
Okay. Miss Wilhelm, this, whatever kind of relationship you had with the plaintiff was of relatively short duration. I read your answer very clearly, and your answer says that he clearly wanted more from the relationship than you were prepared to give him.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Can I see the title to the car, please?
Yes.
Who
I
has
just
the
have
title?
a certificate of title.
I'd like to see it, please.
Here's a copy of the title.
And I'd like to see the certificate of
This
title.
is Exhibit B and C showing the registration and the application.
I just want the title to the car.
He has the title.
This is a copy. Who has
Yeah.
the original?
I have the original at home. I just made a copy of it, Your Honor.
Well, that wasn't very smart, sir.
Well, I'm not.
That wasn't very smart, because I read the defendant's answer very clearly. She says, Bervin's goal was to control me. When I didn't respond to his advances, he became increasingly hostile. Is that true?
That is correct.
It's not true.
Eventually, I told him that he could have the car back because it's not worth the harassment. That's what you wrote. Is that what you wrote?
Yes.
Good. Sign the title over to him. Sign it over. Now,
He has the title.
you're going to sign the copy. We'll conform it. Show where to sign, Bird, would you please? You're getting good at that.
He told me he didn't want the car, Your Honor.
Sign the title over to him.
Signature of seller. And print your name.
Now, give it to him, please. Thank you, Bird. Perfect. Now, let's get to the second part of your lawsuit is you made a series of loans to the defendant. When did they start?
Started after we had purchased the automobile.
That's not true.
She just needed money time after time, and I felt like we were committed enough. We'd already committed that we would go to Texas once she got through her ordeal, and that she would move with me, take the kids. She wanted out of Indiana, so did I.
She's 40 years your junior.
Yes, I know, Your Honor.
Very foolish.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very foolish. Do you have a promissory note, sir?
No, Your Honor.
You gave her money for a lawyer.
Yes,
How much money did you give her for a lawyer?
$500.
That's not true.
You gave her money to pay her mortgage.
$500.
Did you ever get a note from her for any of those things?
No, Your Honor, I was too involved.
Well, you were too involved, and that's what you get when you're too involved,
That's
sir.
right.
You don't get paid for that.
That's right.
That's stupidity.
Well, I said that to myself.
Well, if you said it to yourself, unfortunately, you got to listen to me say it to you again.
That's okay. That's
So this was a lesson that cost you perhaps a couple of $1,000s. Miss Wilhelm says that you never gave her any money, I assume. Is that right?
That's correct.
Never gave you any money?
No.
I don't know whether I believe you that he never gave you any money. I sort of think he probably did. In any event, you knew each other for a total of maybe 8 weeks. In the 8 weeks, the plaintiff is out a substantial amount of money. I can't get you back all the money that you were out, sir, because I really feel as if you didn't have a contract with her with regard to these cash loans that you made to her, cash gifts that you made to her. But clearly, it was your intention to have a hold on the car, which was the largest amount of money that you turned over to the plaintiff, by having your name placed as a lien holder on the car. That is some evidence of a debt. That is why you got your car back. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Rest of your claim is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused.
5-year-old homemaker Janelle Murray is suing her ex-boyfriend, 27-year-old construction worker Rule Johnson, for an unpaid loan. Rule says the money in question was payment for working on her house.
Order. Come to order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 109 on the calendar in the matter of Murray versus Johnson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Miss Mary, according to your complaint, you loaned the defendant $3,500. You knew him from a previous relationship. You want to tell me when you loaned him the money, what was it for, and where did you get it from?
I loaned him the money in the middle of February. We had known each other about a year and a half prior to. We had been dating. It didn't work out. He couldn't commit. We reconciled at the beginning of the year. He came to me crying about the middle of February, indicating that his life was in danger, that if he didn't have this money, he would be hurt. I trusted him. At that point, he said that he wanted to make this relationship work. I took him for his word. He swindled me.
Where did you get the money from?
It was a tax debt that I owe. I took a loan out on my house.
I just said it was a tax debt. What kind of tax debt?
I owe the IRS money from cashing stock in. I took a mortgage out on my house.
You have proof of that?
Yes. He knew I was getting a loan for this money. He came to me right about the time it was about to fund.
Let me see.
Your Honor, that's false. I didn't know anything about the loan until after the fact.
He had made an agreement with me, an oral agreement, that he would pay this back before the 15th.
Just a second. Okay, on what date did he come to you in February?
On the 20th.
And what did he tell you that the money was needed for?
I have no idea. He said that his life was in danger. I took
didn't
him for
ask
his
him?
word. I just saw that he was scared.
And you gave him the money in cash?
Yes. He indicated that was the nature of it.
Your Honor, I do have a
Just a
bank
sec.
account. I'm able to cash checks.
Just a second. How much was the amount of your tax bill?
$70,000.
Okay. Go.
Your Honor, this first thing I'd like to present this letter, actually, that I have. It shows
A letter
little-
from what?
It's a letter, actually, from the plaintiff. It shows a little bit of what her word is, and
Your Honor,
That's-
I have
this-
never mailed him any letters.
Just a minute.
it obviously has her. That's the original there, Your Honor, with her signature
I-
at the bottom.
I can't read and listen to you at the same time. Okay, just show this to her. That really has nothing to do with this case.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, that
has
goes
nothing
to
to
show
do
that
with
her
the case.
word really means nothing, to tell you the truth, Your Honor. This was not a loan.
Well, tell me what
I
it
had
was,
done
sir. I
work
read
for
your
her.
answer. Tell me what it was.
I had done work for her in the middle of last year. My brother as well was working with me at the time. He was my employee. And we had spoken with her, him and I, at the same time, were present, to do anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 worth of work on her home.
That's a lie.
Skylights, countertop, tile,
Just a
replace a
second.
double door in the front entry.
Okay, so you had started to do some work on her house.
That's correct.
When did you start to do the work on her house?
I believe it was July 24th or 25th. We worked there
Of
for 3 days.
2000?
Yes.
And how many days did you work there?
We worked there for 3 days, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
On the third day, we had the job almost completely done, the portion that we were doing, and she said, I'll finish it myself. Had never given us any money for materials besides a $500 check. She had not paid us for our labor,
Just a
which I
second.
had to
Wait,
pay
wait,
my
wait,
employee.
She gave you $500.
A check, that's correct. And that
Well,
was
the
in
check you
July of
cashed.
2000.
Shh, I'm speaking. She gave you a check for $500, and according to you, you worked there 3 days.
That's correct.
Do you have a contract with her?
But we had a verbal agreement.
Did you have a contract with her?
I did not, Your Honor.
Okay. Because no contractor starts a job that says it's between $8,000 and $10,000. When you
She
do
had a
I'm
list.
speaking. When you do a contract, you say this item is going to cost this and that item is going to cost that. You don't believe that the work that you did in 3 days was $4,000.
No, it was not, but subsequent to me accepting this job, I turned down numerous other jobs because I was going to be at this job
You
for
have-
anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks.
You have proof of that?
Not on hand, Your Honor.
Well, that's your defense. That's your defense to this action. So you should have proof. Now you're telling me she just came home one day and said, I don't want you to work on this project anymore.
That's correct. Actually, Your Honor, a few days before that, she had told me that she loved me and wanted to be with me. We went to her house that evening. My brother and I spoke with her on doing this work. She had a large list, pulling out bushes, skylights, numerous work around her house that she had just purchased. We told her, well, okay, we can start in a couple of days. We came by on the Monday of the first part of the week. When we showed up, we asked her to open the garage door so we could unload
So you
materials.
didn't have another job right then?
No. I told her I could be there on
Just-
Monday.
Just a second. So you were free immediately?
No, I
My
told her I could
statement
help
was
her
you
out.
were free immediately. She spoke to you the week before. You were able to start that Monday. So you were free. You didn't have any other commitments.
At present, I did not at hand. She had asked me first. I had other jobs that I went to. That's the main reason why.
No. My question was, and your response is, you had no other commitments that prevented you from starting her job immediately.
No, I did not.
Okay.
My father had just passed away, so therefore I was still grieving from his death. I've been taking care of him for the first part of that year as well.
Mr. Johnson, pay attention to me. This is about money. This is not about
I
your
have a bill
father's
here as well
unfortunate
that I normally
demise.
write up for customers
Okay?
that I work
Now,
for.
don't you understand when my mouth is moving? There is only one voice that I hear.
To apologize, Your Honor.
Good. Now, if you felt that she owed you money in July of 2000, why didn't you sue her?
I had spoken to my attorney on putting a lien on her house, and work picked up at that time, so I just filed the bill away that I had written up for the initial work that we had started.
Then I'd like to see the bill that you say you filled out then in July of 2000.
That's correct, Your Honor.
For the work that you started.
I do believe there's a legal term for this called quantum merit, Your Honor.
You didn't do $4,000 worth of work in 3 days. I know what the legal terms are. Quantum merit means that you are paid for the work that you do.
That's correct.
This is not the work that you did in 2.5 days.
She gave me a check for $500, that is it.
Pay attention. This is not the work that you did in 2.5 days. That's not what your answer is. Your answer is that you gave up other jobs because you had a job that you thought was going to last several weeks. That's your
correct.
defense.
That's correct.
So what are you showing me this bill for? For $4,000?
That's the work that we started doing. Halfway through that, she decided to tell us, and I'll finish the job myself, because the first day we arrived on the job, she had a new boyfriend there.
Your Honor, the reason that I...
Did you remove the countertop?
That's correct.
Did you install a new countertop?
That's correct.
One
Okay.
out of 3.
What do you mean 1 out of 3?
There are 3 countertops. He installed one, gouged the second one, and left the other one standing
That's
in my
false,
garage.
Your
Just a
Honor.
second. Is it there?
I paid somebody else to correct the job.
That's false, Your Honor. There was one section left not put in, Your Honor, and that was the sink side, and that was the day that she asked us to leave. She would finish
Did
the
you tell
job
him to leave?
herself.
I fired him because he verbally assaulted me.
What did he say?
That is
He
false,
quoted
Your
me
Honor.
that the job would take 3 days, cost about $800. We're talking tile on the floor, kitchen countertops, and a kitchen sink.
The initial job that we had quoted, it was just the surface.
On the 3rd day,
Not to
my
the
stove
countertop.
was still not put in its place. The countertops were, my kitchen was not functionable. He kept verbally assaulting me, making rude
that's
comments
false
to
again,
me.
Your Honor.
Please
I don't want to hear
interrupt
any
me.
interruptions.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Please don't interrupt.
That's a lie. That's a
It is
pure
not
lie.
a lie.
Out. Him. Out. And the next time somebody speaks, I'm going to resolve this case. It's not going to be to their satisfaction.
She's a liar. That's a lie.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? There is not to be any discussion between the two of you, and you are to respond to my questions. That's the way I run a courtroom. If you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Janelle Murray says ex-boyfriend Rule Johnson owes for an unpaid loan.
Okay. You fired them.
Yes.
Did he leave a sink there?
No. I bought my own sink.
Okay.
That's false as well, Your Honor.
Show me the bill.
I don't have the receipts. I had given them to her at the time.
You're a contractor. Contractors have bills. Can I see it,
Checks.
please? Did you buy a sink set, faucet and plumbing?
I did not. That was to install her old faucet and plumbing with
You
the
didn't
new
do that.
sink.
Just a second. You didn't do that.
No. That was when she called us.
Just answer my question. You didn't do that.
No.
And you didn't buy the sink.
Yes, I did, Your Honor. That's false.
And yet you have no proof that you bought a sink, right?
I've got my witness, which you asked to leave the courtroom.
Yeah, because he has big mouth. He doesn't know where he is, and he's not coming back.
Well, when the plaintiff lies, I mean, it's only fair to stand up and say when somebody's a liar.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,500. That's how I resolve the case when you have a big mouth.
Fine.
Thank you.
Have a nice day, Your Honor.
You may step out.
She couldn't accept the fact that she couldn't have me.
He's obviously very full of himself.
She's been obsessive after my brother. She's stalked him.
Ladies, fair warning.
She's a crazy lady.
Pretty faces and money don't mix.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gilbraith versus Brown. Step forward.
30-year-old electrician Steve Gilbraith is suing his ex-wife, 30-year-old food care supervisor Kristen Brown, for an insurance settlement she received when their marital home burned down.
Mr. Gilbraith, you and the defendant had been married.
Yes, ma'am.
You are now divorced.
Yes, ma'am.
Your claim has to do with some property that was in the marital home. The marital home was destroyed by fire. The defendant was reimbursed for losses in that fire by insurance, and you want to be paid for the stuff that was in the house that belonged to you.
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay. So now I need some dates from you, sir. When were you and the defendant married?
We were married October 7th, 1989, divorced October...
Sure, just a second. I'll ask the questions. When did you separate?
Late 97, 98.
Do you remember the month?
I believe it was in January.
Of 1998.
Eight.
And when you separated, you were living in the home that burned down?
At the time, yes, and then I was asked to move out.
No, just a second. Just answer the question. Don't volunteer. Never volunteer. At the time that you separated, you were living in the house that burned down.
Yes.
The divorce became final when?
On October 29th, 99.
Almost 2 years after you had separated.
Yes.
And 1 month later, the house burned down.
That is correct.
After the final divorce.
That is correct.
Now, what property do you claim, sir, was left in the house when you moved out in January of 1998?
There were personal belongings of mine that the defendant had agreed that I could keep there.
I didn't, you volunteering information again. I said, what property did you leave in the house?
This is a list of everything, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Galbraith, between January of 1998 and the time of the divorce in October of 1999, had you gone back to the house at all for any of your property?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
What property did you go back for?
Mainly at the time, it was my personal clothing and stuff like that. Things that I had left there were items that I was actually working on remodeling my son's room in the house, my tools and stuff like that. The majority of what I took out was my personal clothing at the time.
Now, I see a large document in there. Is that your judgment of divorce?
I have my the degree of dissolution here also.
I'd like to take a look at it. This says that at the time of your divorce, you and your wife had allocated all property that belonged to each of you.
That's correct.
And your judgment of divorce says that at the time of this agreement, you have decided whose property belongs to whom, and whoever has physical possession of that property now is the owner of that property. Did you know that?
Yes, ma'am.
The husband and wife agree that each party shall retain as his or her own, free and clear of any claims of the other party, all items of household goods and furnishings presently in his or her possession. That's what it says. So, at the time that the house burned down, sir, all the property in her possession was hers.
The power tools that were in the house I was using to, like I say, to remodel my son's house. Those are tools I use every day on my job. The items that was in there were items that we, her and myself, had agreed verbally that she would allow me to keep there.
Then you put it in this agreement. Did you have an attorney?
At the time, no.
Should have. You signed this.
As I said before, we had a dissolution, and it was an agreement between us in the best interest of our children to keep everything. We've been friends for over 20 years. We tried to keep it in the most friendly possible way we could.
That's fine. What I'm saying to you, Mr. Gilbraith, is that you keep it as friendly as possible. But when you outline in an agreement all other property, you talk about the house, you talk about the car, your truck, it names the truck, it names the year of the truck, the make of the truck, the model of the truck that you're going to keep. It talks about the car that she's going to keep, that she's going to keep up the insurance. You have to do certain deed transactions. It talks about all of those things. And then it talks about personal property. And if you had any personal property in that home, you'd just as easily say, listen, we have to put in another paragraph and list all this property that I have in the home that belongs to me. That's very easy. Didn't anybody tell you that, sir? Am I the first person who's told you that?
No, ma'am. I just, as I said, I assumed, being friends that we were, that I could take her on her word.
Did you give him your word that this was all of his property?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
This list, which was made April of 2001, well after the fire.
That's how long it took me to get all of the records and inventory from the insurance company.
It may be, sir. But you had no insurable interest in the property as of the date of your divorce. Because as of the date of this divorce, you were not the owner of any property that was in her possession. It's a simple legal matter, unless she acknowledges that she was merely holding this property for you. You acknowledge that?
No, ma'am.
However, she knows the tools that were in my son's room and all my stuff that was there in that room was being done for her in regards to the remodel of that home, which I had promised I would finish. Unfortunately, a fire happened in the home before that.
That may be. But you're not suing under that theory that you were a workman doing renovation in the house. Your tools were there when it burned down, and therefore those tools should be covered by her insurance.
It also says in my agreement any inheritant material that was in the house was also mine.
You're talking about under miscellaneous?
Yes, I had things that were given to me by my deceased mother, and etc.
Mr. Gilbraith, don't pull my leg. Okay. The section that you're reading says the parties agree that each shall retain as his or own, free and clear of any claims of the other, all items of clothing and personal effects presently in his or her possession. The parties further acknowledge and agree that neither party shall have any enforcement rights to the other's inheritance or expectancies, and all future inheritances and expectancies shall remain the property of the inheritor, which means that if somebody dies in your family and leaves you money, or property. She cannot claim any of that property. That has nothing to do with your power tools.
No, it has to do with quilts that were made by my mother and my grandmother.
You should have gotten them out before 2 years. Those were not power tools. You don't redo your son's room with quilts.
No, but that's things that she had stored.
Mr. Galbraith, this is a very simple case. You were divorced. At the time of your divorce, the judgment's divorce said all property that you each have in your individual possession belongs to each of you individually, free and clear of any claims by the other. You had the opportunity at the time of the divorce to include this list as property that was in the house that you intended to get back, that it was an agreement with the defendant that you would get back.
She knew
Very
that.
simple. I said including in the judgment of divorce. You did not do that. If you did not do that, you had no interest in any property in her home. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
23-year-old grocery store clerk Jason Bulkey for damaging her rental car by hitting it with a bottle. Jason says the car was damaged because Mary wrecked it while driving drunk.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom. Now, this is case number 85 on the calendar, the matter of Carrigan versus Bulkey. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. May be seated. Folks, have seats.
Ms. Carrigan, it is your claim that the defendant, who is your boyfriend's brother, caused damage to your rental car. And
That's
he did
correct.
that in a purposeful manner. Want to tell me when this happened?
This happened on the morning of January 28th,
What time in the morning?
about 8 a.m.
Where were you?
We were over at a mutual friend's house.
What were you doing there?
I was driving by to pick up my rental car I had let my boyfriend use to take his friends home.
Okay, so your boyfriend was driving your rental car.
Correct.
Took his friends home. What time had he taken your rental car?
About 15 minutes before that, and I had gone home.
What, were you partying all night?
We were at a friend's party the night before, yes.
So everybody was drinking all night?
Not all night. We stayed there the night prior and came home in the morning.
So everybody was partying all night?
Correct.
Okay. Why did you have a rental car?
I had a rental car because I had been in an accident prior to this about a month before.
When you drove by there, you were driving another car.
I was driving my boyfriend's car.
And he took the rental car to take some people home.
Correct.
15 minutes before you arrived, and what did you go there for?
He was supposed to be right back, so I went to go find him in the car and went to go get something to eat, and I was driving by and noticed that the car was parked there. So I stopped.
Okay, go ahead.
I had also noticed that his friends that were with him that evening had bought beer, and I was upset and wanted to switch cars and wanted to leave. Unfortunately, we ended up arguing. He wouldn't give me my keys so we could switch cars, so I would have the rental car and he would have his car. We argued. People came out of the house. We were arguing quite loudly. Once I got my keys, his car was blocking the rental car in.
So you couldn't pull out?
Correct.
Okay.
Everyone was in a frenzy, really upset, and from the back of the house...
Why was everybody in a frenzy? What were you
It was
yelling
early in
about?
the morning and we were arguing.
What were you arguing about?
Because he wouldn't give me my keys. And once I received my keys, I got in my vehicle, the rental car. The defendant and his girlfriend, which is here as well, came out of the back of the house. She went into the house and he came and punched the driver's side window. I was in the vehicle at the time.
Did he say anything to you?
I couldn't hear. I was in the vehicle. The windows were rolled up.
Okay, so he punched the window. You admit that you punched the window?
Yeah, with an open hand. I hit the window.
Whatever. You admit you punched the
Yeah.
window, that the window did not break.
It was
The
the
window did not break.
other window, though.
The window didn't break.
No, I hit the
Okay.
passenger window, though.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but he hit the driver's side window with his fist.
Whatever.
And
It didn't break.
No, that's correct.
Okay, so continue.
He stepped back, picked up a bottle, and threw it against the driver's side window. Fortunately, it did not hit the window. It hit the side panels, causing them to chip and causing both the driver's side and the driver rear side to chip as well. I have pictures.
With one bottle, it caused damage on two
It was
sides?
it was like a 40-ounce bottle. There's bottles all over that yard there.
Well, let me see where you say this one bottle caused damage to the car.
I have 3 pictures of the same. It's driver's side. It hit the panels in between the front seat and the back seat.
Oh, I see.
I also have a detailed invoice and an estimate on it as well. Sorry.
And you saw him throw this bottle?
Yes, I was in the driver's side, sitting in the car.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Well, I was sleeping over at my friend's house, and My brother came to wake me up to drink. I guess they'd been partying all night. He wanted me to drink with them. It was about 7 in the morning or so. And I didn't want to get up. I was tired. I was woken up a few more times. A couple of my friends woke me up, people that lived there, telling me to get her out of there. She was in the driveway roasting her tires and yelling and screaming. Woke up everybody, all the kids and everything. And after about 45 minutes, everybody bothering me to get her out of there, I finally got up and went out there and asked her to leave, and she flipped me off, and then I hit the window, and then she backed out and left. And I guess, from what I understand, before she got there, she had wrecked the rental car because she was driving drunk, and then she walked home and got the other car, and my brother had came over in the rental car because she left after she wrecked it. That was pretty much it, and then she left. And this guy was there with them when they were drinking and partying all night.
I believe they were drinking and partying all night.
And he offered to give her a ride home in her car because she was very drunk, and she pulled a knife on him, so he left. That's pretty much it. So
Either one of you two people outside at the time that the defendant...
she was up.
Shh, I'm not finished. That the defendant hit or punched the car window.
Yes.
Step up. Go ahead.
When I was there, I went inside after when he
Look
went
at
out
me.
to try.
Look at me. Don't look over
To
there.
try and get her to leave, and I heard yelling outside, so I went outside again, and that's when I seen him go up to the car and I guess ask her to leave, and then I seen him hit the right side passenger front seat window with his palm,
And then what did you see?
and then I seen her exit.
Exit where?
She left.
What time had all the people arrived from the party at your house?
Well, it was a friend's house, maybe around 6:45, I think it was, because I was supposed to get up and leave at 8, and I remember everybody just coming in. It was real chaotic.
Let's talk about before she got there.
It was when, probably, yeah, about 6:45, 7.
And who brought the beer?
I'm not aware who brought the beer. I do know that his brother came in and asked if he wanted to drink, but I'm not sure who brought the beer.
How much beer did they bring?
We didn't even see the beer.
I didn't ask you what you saw.
Sorry. Yeah,
We don't know.
that is correct. I did not see any beer. They just asked if he wanted to go drink, and he declined. His brother left.
So you didn't see any beer? No beer around?
No, I did not see.
When they were waking me up, they had beer. I didn't see how much beer there was. They had beer in their hands. But
other than that, I
didn't
did not
see
see a
boxes of beer
12-pack
or
or anything like that. Yeah, I did not see any other beer.
Did you see any beer bottles?
I think there was 1 or 2 in the recycling bin that had been there, but I mean, nothing. There wasn't bottles strewn all over the driveway or anything like that.
Is his brother still your boyfriend?
Yes, he is. This has caused a lot of problems between us and family issues as well because we both live with his father.
Where's your boyfriend today?
He's in the audience.
Was he present when his brother threw the bottle?
Yes, he was.
What's his name?
Seth Bulkey.
Seth Polkey. Step up.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mary Carrigan says her boyfriend's brother, Jason Bulkey, damaged her rent-a-car in a fit of rage. Jason says Mary damaged it herself when she was driving drunk.
Would you state your name?
Seth Bulkey.
Would you swear him, please?
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in these matters?
Yes.
Take your hands out of your pockets, please. Were you present on the 28th of January of this year when this incident occurred?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer yes or
Yes.
no. Did you see your brother throw a bottle at the car?
Yes, he did.
Where did he get the bottle from?
On the ground, or he brought it out. I don't know.
But you actually saw him physically throw
Yeah.
the bottle at the car?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. You may be seated. I have estimate here for $500, which is the $500 deductible judgment for the plaintiff. That's all, $500.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Her acting crazy happens all the time. I try and stay away from her.
I just didn't want to become another one of his victims.
Don't drink and drive.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Camna versus Seaman. Step forward, please.
20-year-old general contractor Jason Camna is suing former friend, 21-year-old cook Nicholas Seaman. Jason claims Nicholas took his car without permission and was arrested for driving under the influence.
Mr. Kama, you and the defendant were friends, according to your complaint. One evening, he came to your house with his girlfriend. You say he got quite drunk. His girlfriend left. You let him sleep on the couch. You woke up the next morning, found him gone with your car. You got a call sometime later from him indicating he had been pulled over, was charged with driving while under the influence of alcohol, spent the night in jail, car got a little trashed. Your car was now in the impound. You want from him the money that was spent to get the car out of impound, to clean up from where he threw up all over the car, to fix the damage that he caused when he crashed into something, etc. You want all the money that you spent as a result of him taking the car. The defendant says that he had permission to take your car. And as a matter of fact, you asked him to take your car. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Because you were hungry at 2 o'clock in the morning. He took your car, and it's all your fault because the car did not have updated tags. So the car was pulled over. As a result of that, he was arrested because in addition to your car not having tags, you also caused him to be intoxicated. You caused him to throw up in front of the officer all over your car. You did that too, right?
Correct.
And therefore, it is not his fault, and he shouldn't have to pay anything.
Right, I should burden the expense.
That's his position. Convince me.
Okay, Your Honor. I figure for the last 3 to 4 months...
Let's start with, I got to his house with my girlfriend.
All right, well, I got to his house probably around 10:30, and I probably had, over the whole night, probably about 6 beers.
After the 5th one, who remembers? Yes, go ahead.
I still knew perfectly clear what I was doing. I went to Taco Bell because he asked me to go to Taco Bell. We were kind of hungry. After you have a few beers, you do get kind of hungry.
Just a second. Your girlfriend left.
She had already left. She left about 11:30.
Is this your girlfriend?
Yes, it is. Marina.
Perfect. Step up here for a second. How old are you?
18.
Was it your intention to spend your evening with your boyfriend?
Yes.
Did you leave him at Mr. Kama's house because he had gotten a little intoxicated?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Why did you leave him at the house?
It was getting late, and I wanted to go home. It was about 11:30, 12 o'clock when I left.
Right.
Nicholas had not been drinking yet. Jason, by the time we had got there at 10:30.
Just a second. If you wanted to go home, why didn't your boyfriend drive you home at midnight?
He was going to stay with Jason.
Was that the plan, or was that the plan once you got there?
No, that was the plan. He was going to stay at Jason's house that night.
Okay, and he hadn't been drinking at all?
No.
Go ahead.
And by the time that we had gotten to the house, Jason had already had alcohol in him.
So Jason was drunk?
Yes, and the reason why I left at 11:30 is to go home because it was getting late, and Jason was being rude to me because he was drinking. And I didn't want to put up with it, so I left to go home.
Jason was being rude to you?
Yes.
Was he being rude to you in front of your boyfriend?
Yes, he always has.
He does it quite.
Shh. Go ahead.
He does it quite frequently, Your Honor, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Then why would you put your girlfriend in a position of going to his house for even a minute while Jason was drunk and being rude to your girlfriend?
Your Honor,
I'm not asking you a thing.
Well, honestly, I've been really, really good friends with him throughout the past year and a half.
Wonderful. And how long has she been your girlfriend?
5.5, 6 years, off and on.
And he was being rude to her that evening?
Yes.
Did you hear him being rude to your girlfriend?
Yes.
And what you do is you say, I'm going home with my girlfriend. You couldn't drive, is that right? You have no license.
That's right.
Is
Your
that
Honor.
right? And that's a result of driving while under the influence of alcohol?
The reason I had my license suspended was because I had too many tickets. And
Tickets
actually,
for what?
for speeding. And I was just...
I'm not finished. So your girlfriend was doing the driving. You bring your girlfriend over for an evening at Jason's house. He's drunk. He's rude to your girlfriend. So you let her go home at midnight and you stay. According to your answer, sir, it was 2 o'clock in the morning when you got hungry. Is that right?
About 1:30, 1:45. It was 2
So
o'clock when we got pulled over.
I'm speaking. And according to your girlfriend, you had had nothing to drink before she left. Is
That's
that right?
right.
So in the span of approximately, according to you, an hour and a half, you consumed 6 beers.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
That's a lot of beers in an hour and a half.
That's true.
So you were pretty drunk.
Yeah. When I
Now-
was pulled over, I was. At the time, when I left the house, I could still walk perfectly straight line.
Okay, so you get pulled over, and you ask for your license. You got a suspended license. There were no tags on the car. Tell me about what happened when you threw up in the car. I
Well,
want to hear all about that.
I figured it was probably just my nerves. I
Tell
was
me about
really,
it.
really
The police
nervous.
officer pulls you over.
When the police officer pulled me over, he comes to the window and he asked me whose car this was. I told him it was my friend Jason Kamnas. And I said it wasn't even 2 blocks away from the house where I got pulled over. When I left Jason's house, there was a cop parked right in the
I
front.
don't care. I want to know when you threw up in the car.
Okay. After he came, he took down all my information and went back to his car. He was going to write out a ticket. He had a ticket in his hand for driving while suspended, and the uninsured, which I have right here,
I don't need
with
it.
no tags.
I don't need it.
And when he comes back is when I really started getting nervous, and I did get sick.
In the car.
In the car.
That's
So
when he placed you under arrest.
That is when he placed me under arrest. I asked him to
Perfect.
place
You
me
have
under arrest.
all the estimates?
With me, I have the
Well, I only
towing.
want to know what's with you, sir. That's your
Yes,
proof.
I've had an estimate given.
What was the damage on the car?
The damage occurred to the driver's side front and on my parents' house where the car was parked. When you back down the driveway, you need to back down at an angle, kind of, and if you crank the wheel too hard, the front end will hit the garage. And it hit the garage and took a chunk out of the 2x6 that surrounds the garage and put a nice little dent in the front.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I remember this whole night clearly. And every single thing I said to the officer, everything I did the whole night, and I do not remember hitting that garage once.
That's too bad.
I don't know where this came from.
That's too bad.
And the dent in the left front bumper, he ran into his brother's car
What?
about a month ago on the right rear side, and he did not remember running into the car either. That's what he told his brother.
Why weren't there tags on the car?
Because I couldn't pass the Department of Environmental Quality.
What kind of car is this?
It's an '83 Dodge Rampage, and basically it was negligence on my
Just a
part
second.
not having.
What's $575 from
This
rental
resulted after the car. I got it out of impound, and when I got in it to drive it, there's puke everywhere, and there was a knock in the motor, and then the motor seized up. I don't know if that's because when the car was sitting there idling, it tends to get really hot, and if it wasn't shut off, it could do some damage.
I'm not paying for a rental car for you, sir. What other damages did you have?
I had my towing fees, and
I have
missed
your towing
6
fees?
6 days of work
6 days of work? Why?
because I had no car.
You had
I
no car anyway. They had expired tags.
Well, all I needed was a temporary permit.
You didn't have it.
Correct.
So you had no car anyway.
Well, I guess technically no.
Right. So if your car isn't registered, you have no car. You have to be responsible. You drive a car, it has to be registered, it has to have proper insurance, but that doesn't mean he can trash your car and say it's not his fault because it didn't have good tags. He was drunk when he took it. He shouldn't have gotten behind the wheel of the car while he was intoxicated. He's got to pay for certain basic fees. If you had had the car cleaned and detailed, I would have charged him for that too.
Your Honor, I offered to clean the car first thing the day I got out of jail. I apologize for everything. We went there to go get the car out of the impound, and we got almost completely there, and we had to turn around because his license was expired. And
So you
I
got
don't
in the
think
car
he had
anyway.
insurance.
Who was driving?
Me.
She was.
I had just taken, we were just getting ready to take Jason to the impound so he could get his car out, and he said, wait, I cannot go. I don't have insurance and I have an expired license.
So he had no car anyway. So who cares whether he rented a car? How did they rent you a car?
Well, the fact of the matter is I did have insurance and a
How did
valid
they
driver.
rent you a car if you had an expired license?
It was not expired.
What was it?
It was valid. It was a valid Oregon driver's license.
Your Honor, he stated clearly to me that it was not it was already expired.
And that he had no insurance.
Well, in order to rent a car in the state of Oregon, you have to have all the proper
I would say so. That's really interesting.
insurance.
That's really interesting that he was able to rent a car. Who knows? In any event, he owes you $243.50. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 471 on the calendar in the matter of Livingston versus Joseph. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Livingston, you are a plumber by trade. Is that correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Joseph, you are a carpenter by trade.
That's correct.
According to your complaint, Mr. Livingston, two of you didn't get along very well. But there came a time when you claimed that Mr. Joseph assaulted you.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And on what date did this incident occur?
February 11th of 2000.
When had the difficulty between the two of you started?
The difficulty started prior to that job on another job.
So you knew him from before this job?
Correct.
So when you found yourselves working together on this project, that wasn't a happy time.
No.
Now tell me what happened on February 11th.
February 11th, I arrived on a job site approximately 10 after 8. When I walked in, I was confronted by him saying, that I had left the driveway open for you, but I guess you're going to wear the skirt today. And I ignored it, turned around.
What does that mean? I guess you're going to wear the skirt.
It just that I'm a wimp or a wuss. And approximately 10:30, I heard from the other side of the shear wall, was about 17 feet away.
What's a shear wall?
A shear wall is a wall between another room and it's half-inch plywood. He was up on the top of the railing and he was shooting down at me with a nail gun. And I have, Your Honor, the evidence of what a nail gun looks like. This is the type of nail gun that could maim or kill
Is
me.
that the nail gun that of a similar type that he was using on
Correct.
that day? Okay, go ahead.
And as that shot at the wall, a rack of these nails can be shot off in about 7 seconds. I had then come around the wall. He was standing there with an evil grin on his face, looking down at me. I called him very obscenity names, and I said, "Why did you shoot that nail gun at me?" Then he says, "I'm going to come down there and kick your..." He come all the way down the ladder, threw his belt off his waist, first nail gun, and come down the ladder, got into my face, and then I backed up, and I turned around, and when I turned around, he had grabbed me from the backside and went against the stud wall, and that's when the wall had hit the side of my ribs.
And you have photographs of your
Yes,
injuries.
I do.
I'd like to see them, please. Well, I can't see anything around your midsection, sir, because you have a girdle on.
That's for the broken rib. That's a pressure bandage.
All right. Do you have a hospital report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
If Your Honor, if I may call my wife, if we could, for all the pain and suffering and...
Not necessary, sir. Just show me the hospital report. It's right there. Give her the whole packet.
Them are all the correspondence with the hospital.
Now we'll hear your version of the event, sir.
Well, it started actually in '99, probably about a month beforehand, and one of my carpenters nailed through that shear panel and hit his pipe, and he didn't mean to hit his pipe, but when he found out that he hit his pipe,
I heard about that. That's when all the bad blood started between the two of you.
Yeah,
Let's get to February 11th.
very irate. And
Let's get to February 11th, sir.
okay. A day before that, he pulled up to the job site and wanted more access to the driveway, and we were all up in scaffold in the air, 30, 40 feet in the air, and it wasn't possible for us to come down. He became irate and red-faced at that time, took his car, slammed it in reverse, and backed up, missing my vehicle by inches. This is from other people like Matt.
All right, he
who heard
missed
this.
your car. Didn't hit your car. Missed your car.
He missed my car. Came in and cussing and
So
screaming.
he didn't have access to get his truck in there easily the day before, so he was angry.
He was very angry.
Okay, so now let's get to February 11th.
Okay, February 11th. He came with an attitude like he did the day before.
So he was angry.
Yes. I did shoot the nails.
I know you did. That's what you said.
Okay.
You said you shot the nails, and not only did you shoot the nails, but you said something to him when you were shooting the nails. According to you.
Yeah, I was jokingly trying to encourage him to get out of the mood he was in. When I said dance, pipe boy. And,
Right, that's what you said. And that, Mr. Joseph, is what, quite frankly, pardon the pun on words, put the nail in your coffin.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why. Because there had been, evidently, bad blood between the two of you. You knew he was angry. You were not trying to cajole him into a better mood. Did you think that by pointing that gun and shooting in his direction, although not at him, that you were going to make him feel better by saying, dance, pipe boy? Did you think you were going to make him feel better?
May I respond in defense? 2 weeks prior...
I want you to answer my question. Did you think that you were going to make him feel better by shooting the nails from that gun in his direction and saying, dance, pipe boy?
I honestly did, because he always is joking around with everybody on the job site.
But he wasn't joking around with you that day, sir, because you say right here in your answer, Mr. Joseph, It was evident that he was in his usual hostile mood.
I was trying to change his mood.
By shooting?
Yes.
By shooting those things in his direction?
Joking around with him. May I defend myself? Because 2 weeks prior to this, I was building a water heater platform, and I was having trouble reaching a nail, so I handed him my nail gun, and he took the nail gun and pointed it at his coworker's head. Matt Taylor was my witness to this.
Yes.
And he pointed up to his head, so if he's saying that it is so deadly of a weapon, why is he pointing at this gun that was live to the head of someone? When I shoot a nail gun during the day, people walk behind the walls all the time when I hold it up close. I was 35 feet away. There was nowhere for the round to get him at all. He was in perfect safety. Actually, I thought he was in the garage. He was in perfect safety.
You couldn't have thought he was in the garage, sir, because your statement, Dance Pipe Boy, was directed to him. He was the only pipe boy around.
I knew he was in the general vicinity, and I knew he could overhear me when I said that.
Oh, Mr. Joseph, come on. You precipitated this altercation. You started this altercation.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James Livingston says co-worker Douglas Joseph body slammed him. Douglas says he was only playing.
So now you've shot this nail gun in his general direction, although not according to you at him, and words are exchanged. You're up on the second floor, correct?
That's correct.
He's on the first floor. Did he come up to the second floor where you were at?
No, ma'am. He...
No, the answer is no. Did you exit the second floor and come down to the first floor?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because he was calling me down. He was calling me down with profanity and telling me he was going to kick my...
So that seems like a perfect time for me to stay where I am. Somebody is threatening you. Somebody, I mean, I see the way you look. I see, how old are you?
I'm 33 years old.
How old are you?
38.
Okay. How much do you weigh?
162 pounds.
How much do you weigh?
250 pounds.
So it seems to me you don't have much of a risk from him coming up to you and beating you with his plunger, right?
Right.
So you come down from the second floor because he was calling you names. And what happened when you came downstairs, Mr. Joseph?
We did stand toe-to-toe, and he was blurting out vulgar language at the whole time. And I said, "You're not worth going to jail for." I turned and walked away, turned my cheek and walked the other way. And he blurts out, I can't even say it on TV, or he's bleeping things. But I became angry at that point when I turned and I went to push him. And as I pushed him, I tripped and fell on this hardware that he was mumbling about. And he jumped on my back and started choking me. And so...
So you went to push him.
I went to push him,
and
but I fell.
No, you went to push him. That's not what you said. You said you went to push him, and as I did, I fell.
Right.
Then you're down on the ground, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
You're down, flat down on the ground.
I'm down on my knees and my hands.
And what happened?
He jumped my back and started choking my neck. I couldn't breathe.
Yes.
So then I feared for my life. I grabbed his sweatshirt, and I couldn't breathe, so I tried to erect myself, and I pushed us back into the wall. And at that point, I gained control. And I put him in head and arm and around his body, and that's it. No punches were done.
Well, he was injured, sir. He had a fractured rib.
Yeah. Dewey, the electrician, told me he was loading his four-wheeler and broke his rib doing that. He told me.
Don't tell. I'm not interested in what somebody else told you, sir. That's hearsay. That's hearsay. Now, he went to the hospital on the 11th. What's 16:45 hours?
That's 4:45 in the afternoon.
May I introduce Matt Taylor? He's my witness.
I saw the argument in the morning.
You saw it from the beginning, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, I did. I saw him.
Where was Mr. Joseph?
He was upstairs with me, second floor.
And did you see him with a gun similar to that in his hand?
Yes, I did.
Did you have any conversation with him, Mr. Taylor, prior to him pointing the gun downward and shooting off a round?
No.
He didn't say to you, "Look what I'm going to do," or "I'm just fooling around"?
No.
How many rounds did he fire off?
3?
When he fired off those rounds, did you see the plaintiff?
No, I didn't. He was behind the shear wall.
Did you ask Mr. Joseph what he was doing?
No.
Well, wouldn't that seem like a logical thing to ask?
Well, I knew that I knew Mr. Livingston wasn't in any danger from
That's not what I asked you. You saw the defendant shooting off rounds of that gun in a way that was not meant to do any business that you were there to do, right?
Right.
Well, what did you think he was doing, sir?
I thought he was messing around.
Messing around with what?
A nail gun.
Messing around how? Just look at me, sir. Messing around how?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Well, I didn't know what he was doing. He was shooting off the nail gun. I knew he was messing around with the plumber.
Okay, so you knew he was messing around with the plumber with the nail gun.
Yes. Yes, sir.
There we go. So after he shot off 3 rounds with the nail gun, what did you hear him say?
I heard him say, "Dance, pipe boy."
Now, you were on the 2nd floor. Do you see how quietly you said that to me, "Dance, pipe boy"? I want you to use your voice, Mr. Taylor, and in a voice that replicates how Mr. Joseph communicated "Dance, pipe boy" to the plaintiff. Why don't you tell me how that sounded from the 2nd floor? Let's hear it, Mr. Taylor.
He said, "Dance, pipe boy."
You want me to put you up on the 2nd floor and see if I could hear that? With all the other noise that's going on in a house that's being renovated? You want to try that one more time?
He said, "Dance, pipe boy."
That sounds more like it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You came downstairs and took off your belt to fight.
Negative.
Oh, yes, you started it. And whatever happened after that, you deserved it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James Livingston says coworker Douglas Joseph body slammed him. Douglas says he was only playing.
And when he said "Dance, pipe boy," see how you laughed and you smiled when you said that to me? Did you smile?
No, I didn't.
You didn't smile. Did you laugh?
No.
Was he laughing?
No.
Wasn't?
No.
And then what did you see, sir?
I saw Mr. Livingston come out from around the corner, and for a while he was taunting Doug, lots
Cursing
of
at
verbal
him.
abuse, cursing at him.
Cursing at him.
And then I saw Doug he went downstairs.
Did he go downstairs by ladder?
Yes.
And did he put down the gun before he started to descend the ladder?
Yes.
And what about his tool belt?
He took that off. He took that off when he got down there.
Did he take that off as soon as he got down from the ladder?
No.
So he was wearing it.
Yes.
And when did he take off his tool belt?
The second time he went down, when...
Second time?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about the first time he went down.
The first time he went down was after Mr. Livingston started calling him a bunch of names. He went down, he said that it wasn't worth it, came back up, and then Mr. Livingston started yelling at him some more, and he went back down, and then he took off his tool belt.
May I respond in defense to myself? He was saying that I knew you weren't going to do anything about it. Like, he wanted to fight, and I didn't want to fight. I tried to walk away from it the whole time.
You could have?
I could have.
Oh, you could have, Mr. Joseph. All you had to do was not come downstairs the second time and take off your belt.
How much verbal abuse can someone take?
Do you hear that?
Yeah,
Do you hear that?
When it goes on for months, they've had 5 complaints about him with other trades and everything, about how vulgar his language is and
That's
how...
why, Mr. Joseph, I don't believe you when you say to me that you shot the gun at him in an attempt to change his mood from foul to fair. I don't believe you. What I think you wanted to do was just give him a good one. And you not only shot this gun at him, which could place him at risk because, let's say, it happened that one of those nails hit another nail, hit a pipe, ricocheted, caused some damage. You would have been very sorry that that happened. You would have said it was an accident. I didn't mean to hurt him. But bottom line was, you started it. And whatever happened after that, whatever foul language he was using, whatever names he was calling you or your mother, whatever he was doing, you deserved it. So you didn't come down once. So you didn't tell me that. You actually went upstairs without taking off your belt. According to this gentleman, you came downstairs and took off your belt to fight.
Negative.
Oh, yes, you did. You took off your belt in order to fight, because otherwise there is absolutely no reason for you to take off your belt. You didn't do it the first time.
I believe I did do it the first time, actually.
Not according to your witness. According to your witness, he said you went up the first time, right? With the belt. Came back upstairs with the belt. Didn't take the belt off until he came down a second time, right?
Right.
You've been most helpful. Sit down. So, Mr. Joseph, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. I'm sure that that's something that you heard at your mother's knee at some time during your life, and it's too bad that you didn't follow through. You started this incident on this job site. You started it. You started it by behaving irresponsibly with a very serious piece of equipment. And I'm not saying that Mr. Livingston, by responding and calling you names and cursing at you, was a gentleman. But boy, if somebody did that to me, let's just say this. Are you married?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have children?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are your children?
They're 10, 11, 12, 13.
Let's say a 15-year-old boy doesn't like your 10-year-old and has one of those dart guns and takes out one of those dart guns and starts shooting it in your son's direction.
May I defend your leading?
No, I want to ask you that question.
Actually, an incident happened to my son just the other day where he was beat up by 3 of the neighbor boys, and I walked over to the neighbor after just relaxing about it and talking to her, and said, I know that boys will do things, and he had a hurt rib and a bloody nose.
And you went over and said, I know that boys will do things.
Yeah,
Really?
They beat him up, and he was in tears, and everyone, you know, and I responded like, you know, I was in fear of my son, but an hour later I realized that he might have done something to begin with to do something, and then they might have taunted him or something like that, you know.
Really?
And I think they were both
You are
responsible.
such a good person. Somebody did that to one of my kids, boy, even joking around. I wouldn't like that, would you?
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
I admit that I was angry at first, but I waited an hour and a half.
Well, you calmed down.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you should have done.
Yes, ma'am.
So you got to pay for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 459 on the calendar in the matter of McLeod Tenori versus Webb. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
All right. Planning a wedding, first wedding for both of you?
Yes.
Yes.
You hired the defendant to do the catering. You were expecting about 150 people. She gave you a price of a little over $500 to do all the catering for 150 people. So far, is that right?
Correct. That's correct.
That's some bargain. Night before the wedding, you were arrested, had some outstanding matter with the police. You were pulled over for a traffic violation, held overnight. You called them from jail?
Actually, Your Honor, I had to call my mother at 6 o'clock that morning and ask her to get in touch with a partner of mine that was supposed to help me prepare for the wedding. And she got in touch with my partner at 9 o'clock that morning.
Okay. In any event, you were ultimately contacted, told you wasn't coming. You had to hustle and scramble and find a deli and get sandwiches and whatever to feed these 150 people. You not only want your deposit back, you want $5,000 from her because you say she spoiled your whole day. Right?
That's accurate.
It's never going to happen. Understand that it's never going to happen. The defendant did, in fact, volunteer to give you $1,000, right?
That's correct.
You said, I'm prepared to give you $1,000 for your aggravation and everything else. I feel terrible. What happened? And you said no. Why did you say no?
First of all, Your Honor, she didn't contact us until December 18th, 2 months and 4 days after the wedding, after she'd been served with the court case.
You mean she didn't send you back your deposit either?
No, wouldn't even return my phone calls. And we didn't find
okay.
out.
Then you got angry.
Well, partially. I also spoke to a lot of lawyers and people, and they said when you sue for the maximum, and then you see what you can get, you barter or whatever, so. Your
But,
Honor, Your Honor.
That's why lawyers have such a bad reputation.
Your Honor, the reason why I didn't contact her as soon as I got released, which is after 11 days, I missed 3 weeks of work. I got out to almost being evicted, and I had a tragedy in my family. There was a lot of things going on when I got out. And I also tried to contact her before I was served, and when I spoke with her, she told me that she was on her honeymoon and that she did not receive any of my messages.
What were you incarcerated for the 11 days?
For not showing up, for being a material witness in an assault case, which was my past landlord. And at that time, my landlord had been threatening me, so I moved.
whatever. So you were served to appear as a witness in a criminal case. You didn't appear.
Right.
What do you expect to get from her?
Well, I think mostly it was the cost we incurred. Our wedding, we served hot dogs instead of the elegant meal we had planned.
You weren't going to get an elegant meal for $500 for 150 people.
Well, actually, when we interviewed with her, I asked those questions because we were inviting people from all over the country, and no one traveled less than an hour because we were in the mountains where we got married.
$500, you don't get a big spread.
I know, and I even have the stuff she faxed me, and I questioned it. She showed us books to say, you know, people cooked the food for her. That's how she was able to do it.
If it looks too good to be true, it's usually not true. You look like an intelligent lady. Did you ultimately have a good time at your wedding?
I think the only time I really remember was the actual ceremony.
That's great.
We never went over to the tables. We never even ate the food. It was taboo, and I was so humiliated and embarrassed. I didn't, you know, want to even start crying in front of my guests. So
okay, it will be a day you will remember.
We've got stories, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Miss Webb, did you make an offer to them to compensate them in the amount of $1,000?
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
Because, Your Honor, I felt very terrible that I could not be there to cater her wedding. That's what I love to do.
Why didn't your partner get over there with some of the food?
Evidently, she wasn't true. She wasn't a real friend.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
What?
Can I say one more thing? We actually didn't find out that Alicia wasn't coming until 3 o'clock, and the wedding was due at 4:30.
It's a situation that was unavoidable.
Well, right.
It's not as if she blew off your wedding to do something else.
Well, I don't
she
know.
would have much preferred to do your wedding than to be incarcerated. So the only question is, what are your damages? And what damages can you reasonably expect from the defendant? Now, she certainly has to return your deposit to you, which is $200, right?
Correct.
She has offered you $1,000, and I think that that is a pretty reasonable offer under the circumstances. So that's my judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Some of the more elegant things was like a fondue pot with Baileys and chocolate drizzled on tea biscuits, and these folks ate hot dogs.
I checked with other catering companies, and they would have been spending like $2,000 for 150 people.
And now the next case.
All parties on Hart versus Kirby. Step forward, please.
18-year-old salesperson Jennifer Hart is suing former friend, 18-year-old package handler Brian Kirby, for damage to her car and stealing money from her wallet.
Ms. Hart, according to your complaint, the defendant caused damage to your car and stole your wallet or money from your wallet. The defendant said he was in your car, but he didn't cause the kind of damage you're talking about. From what I gather from these papers, you were at the defendant's house visiting an ex-boyfriend or something who was also there. Mr. Kirby, according to you, you believed that the plaintiff's boyfriend had stolen money from your father. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So in order to get the money back for your father, tell me what you did.
It's like can I tell you, start from my point of view?
Now listen to me. You believe that the plaintiff's boyfriend went into your father's room and stole money. Is that right?
Yes.
So you decided to do something to the plaintiff's car, right?
No.
Did you go into the plaintiff's car?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do in the plaintiff's car?
I opened up her car door, and then I proceeded to press the button because it's attachable city face. Took the CD.
I don't know what you're talking about. Press a button and it's a detachable CD face. I have no idea what that is.
All right, the CD face comes off of the CD player, and I took the CD face off the CD player and put it in my jacket, and then walked to my house.
And was she inside of your house at the time?
Yes.
So she didn't know that you were doing that?
No.
Now, what did she have to do with money that the boyfriend allegedly stole from your father?
Well, she's the one that brought him into my house.
Had you ever met the boyfriend before?
Yeah, he hangs around with my little brother.
So he'd been to your house before?
Yes.
So he wasn't a stranger coming into your house?
But through the grapevine, I heard that...
I don't care what you heard through the grapevine. Through the grapevine, you don't talk about in court.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 18-year-old salesperson Jennifer Hart is suing former friend, 18-year-old package handler Brian Kirby, for damage to her car and stealing money from her wallet.
Now, the boyfriend had been to your house before?
Yes.
Fine. So, knocks at the door, Jennifer comes in with the boyfriend, sits in your house. Go ahead.
So then we proceeded back to my room,
and we's back there shooting the breeze. So I asked them if they're thirsty, and they say yes. So I get up to go get some pop. So I'm walking back to my room, and I see Josh like jump back, and I knew that he was snooping in my room. So then I walk in my room, I'm getting all loud with him. I'm like, man, what are you doing snooping around in my stuff, man? You're supposed to show me more respect than that. You know what I'm saying? He is in my house. He should show me respect, not going through my stuff. That's not showing me any kind of respect. So then he jumps up, punches me. I fall down on the couch. I grabbed him, slammed him down on the couch. Then my brother hears all this commotion. He runs back there. Him and Jennifer break it up. Well, Jennifer pulls her boyfriend into the bathroom. That's when I went outside and took the CD face off of her CD player. So then I'm walking back in my house, and she
So
has
far,
no
I haven't heard
idea.
anything about your father's money.
Well, before I went out to the car, that my brother's like, the stuff is missing, the money and the watch. I'm like, all right, so I used the CD face as collateral in order to get my stuff back, which I never received back. So then I come back in my house, and her and her boyfriend's coming out, and she's like, I think it's time for us to leave. So I was like, yeah, get out of my effing house. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff's coming up missing, and it was there before they came into my house. So then Jennifer and her boyfriend walk outside, they're getting in the car, and I look out the window to make sure they're gone. Well, Jennifer comes running back up saying, somebody stole her CD player. So then I reached into my jacket, I was like, nobody stole your CD player. I handed her back your CD face, shut the door in her face. Then 2 days later, I received all these threatening phone calls from her boyfriend and his brother saying they're going to beat me and my little brother up and all kinds of stuff. So I had to get my phone number changed because they're harassing me. And
that's your story?
Yeah.
All right. Now, Miss Hart, show me the damage to your car.
Do you want the estimates too? Or just the pictures?
Let's just see the pictures first.
Okay.
Well, it looks as if, unless this was done before, it was more than just pressing a little button and the face comes off here. I mean, I'm not good with electrical stuff, Bert.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a lot more damage than the face coming off, Judge.
Let me see the estimate.
This one was for the parts of the car, and that's for the CD player and the installation, I believe.
That's for the CD player, parts for the car.
Okay. And what about this wallet, Miss Hart?
Whenever I went into Brian's house, he said that I went there with Josh. Josh was already there whenever I got there. I got off work and went over there to see them. And
What word didn't you understand? I said wallet.
It was laying in the middle of my seats whenever I went into the house. Whenever I went back out and noticed that my stuff was gone, all the money was out of it, and he said that he didn't do it.
He might not have done it.
I don't know who else would have. He was the only one that got in my car.
Was your car open?
I left it unlocked because I'd been over there
You left it
many
unlocked?
times before. Yeah.
You left it unlocked.
Yeah.
What kind of brains does it take to leave your wallet with money in an unlocked car?
I've been over to their house like so many
I
times.
don't care whether you were over at
before.
their house. I don't care if you were in a monastery. People with intelligence don't leave their wallet in the middle of a console with money in it in an unlocked car. You got me?
Yeah.
Good. Now, this is not a very difficult case, Mr. Kirby. What you did that day was to commit a crime, and you could have been arrested for it because you went into her car, you defaced her property. You had no right to enter her car. It wasn't even Miss Hart that you thought had taken property out of your house. It was somebody else that you were holding her responsible for. You can't do that. Do you understand?
Yes.
Have you ever been arrested before?
Yes.
Look at me.
Yes.
For what? Look at me.
Contributing to a minor.
Contributing to a minor? Contributing to the delinquency of a minor?
Yes.
In what context, sir? How old are you?
18.
So that must have been a rather recent arrest.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
And the minor was a female
Yes.
who was under the age of 16?
Yes.
And was that your only arrest, Mr. Kirby? Is not an answer.
No, I got arrested twice. The second time was for stealing some condoms.
Some condoms?
Yes, out of Marsh.
That was in and around the time you were contributing to the delinquency of a minor?
No, that was after.
Oh. The damage, as indicated in your estimates, Ms. Hart, is $664. Judgment for the plaintiff in that amount. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Step forward, please.
21-year-old Army National Guardsman Heather Johnson and her fiancé, 22-year-old telecommunications technician Sean Abbots, are suing 34-year-old hotel maintenance manager Jeff Lacasse for unpaid wages and a deposit on a car.
All right, this is not a very difficult case. I'm going to start with Mr. Lacasse. Mr. Lacasse, you knew the plaintiff casually, I assume. He did a little bit of work for you at some point?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's another small part of this lawsuit, that he says you owe him for a day's pay. Do you owe him for a day's pay?
The hotel that I work for owes him for a day's pay.
Did you ask him to work for you for that day?
I asked him to work for the hotel. We were doing, to expound on that a little bit, we were doing the installation of some furniture at the hotel.
Did he ever sign anything with the hotel?
I don't think so.
Well, if he didn't sign anything with the hotel, sir, and you asked him to work, were you in charge of this project?
Yes, I was.
Then you pay him, because he was never paid. And if you were in charge of the project and you didn't see to it that he got signed up to be put on the hotel's payroll, you pay him. I'll figure that out in a minute. Let's get to the real crux of this lawsuit. You sold him a car.
Yes, I did.
For $900.
Yes, I did.
According to you, he gave you $200 in cash at some point. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And he also gave you a check.
That's correct.
And before he gave you the cash, he gave you the check.
That's correct.
And he said to you that the check may bounce.
That's correct.
Later. And he said, let me give you the cash instead. So he gave you the cash. But you and your wife went and deposited the check.
The check had been deposited before the cash was received.
Fine. And you got the money for the check?
We did not. The check went bad. It went insufficient funds. We were given $200 for the check.
So all you got so far was $200?
That's correct.
Okay. In any event, he had the car for a little more than a week's time. You couldn't come to terms with method of payment on the car, so you took the car back.
That's correct.
And you're keeping the $200?
Yes, I am.
What makes you think that you're entitled to keep the $200?
When we first went to sell the truck, I purchased a battery so the truck would start. It had been sitting for over a year. And then there are phone calls that I made several times over and over and over again to try to get one of either Mr. Abbott's or Miss Johnson to call me to let me know what was going on, and then my time and efforts to go get the truck and bring it back to my residence.
How far does he live from where you are?
Probably about 25, 30 miles.
Not a big deal.
No.
He told you initially when you gave him the car that he probably would not be able to pay for this all at one time.
That's correct.
So?
Well,
you knew money
but
was tight?
The situation was, though, is that he also told me that he was going to be getting a loan from his step-grandmother.
He was going to try to get a loan.
He was going to try.
Try.
But
what he said was, I'm going to try to get a loan.
That's very true.
Well, he didn't get the loan. So you knew he had difficulty. You knew you had this old truck laying there that you hadn't started for a year. So, did you sell the truck?
I sold the truck to him.
After you repossessed it.
No, we did not sell the truck. I kept it.
He drives
it to work. Just a second. Because now it's working, right? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's working. All right, easy case. You got the truck, you want to give him the truck, or you want to give him the $200?
I'll give him the $200.
Perfect. Now let's talk about the day's pay. How many hours did you work?
I worked 7 hours.
Which was, you were supposed to be paid $8 an hour?
$56, yeah, total.
Fine. It's easy. Anything else? What do you want to say?
Your Honor, I would just like to say, in regards back to the truck, if I may, the $200 that was given to us as a down for the truck, it wasn't the whole amount. The agreement was the $900, and we were willing to work with them. But after almost 3 weeks went by, after phone call trying to get a hold of them.
They didn't have the car 3 weeks.
Yes, ma'am, they did. They did have the car for 3 weeks.
Shh. I read all the papers. You made the deal with him on the 29th of August, and on September 12th, you repossessed the car. All right, listen to me. You say you had to put in a battery, right? You're driving the truck.
But
you're driving the truck. Do you drive it to work?
Yes, ma'am, I do now.
Perfect. You don't expect him to pay for that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $256. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That's all right.
Well, they wanted their $200 back, and I can understand that.
I'm somewhat pleased.
It really doesn't matter because I'm going to Disneyland.
I just wish they could have been more friends about it, since we were friends in the past.
Order. All rise. This is case number 488 on the calendar in the matter of Houghton versus Nicolay.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Let me see if I understand this case. Miss Horton, your husband was incarcerated.
Right.
And while he was incarcerated, you were living not far from the defendant.
Correct.
You had an arrangement where your husband would make collect calls to her phone from prison in order to talk to you.
Correct. It was from county jail.
And there was quite a bill that was amassed, over $400 worth of collect phone calls. At some point, you agreed to sign over title to an old truck that's about 20 years old to the defendant to hold as collateral for the monies that you owed her for the phone bill.
Not exactly. The title for the truck was only to be used just
a second. You agreed to sign over the title to her?
Yes.
To ensure that your husband paid the bill?
Actually, what was the whole point? The point about the title and me giving it to Pam was so she can use for leverage so Michael could buy back the title because it was his truck, and she figured he would actually be more apt to pay the phone bill for his.
Hello guys, I hope you like this Judy video very much. Subscribe to watch more videos daily, very amazing. You know Judge Judy is very nice lady. I really like him. And if you like him and his cases, then make sure you comment below. Because I am regular uploading videos, very hard working student I am. I do much work and I am very nice guy. And I hope you will be also very nice guy. And to support nice guy, you make sure watching video till the end and subscribing my channel, because it does not cost too much to subscribing this channel. It's free, and I hope you will do this 100%. And if you do this 100%, then I love you. And if you love me, then make sure comment love you. Okay? Because Judge Judy is very nice lady, and his case is also very nice. He believe on justice and giving justice to the world, to his peoples. And justice is very popular in United States because of Judge Judy. People are watching his cases and learning from his cases and from his different point of view, that how he helped the people to give him justice. Because giving justice is not for everyone. It costs very much to give a justice to a person. So make sure you subscribe my channel, and I will catch you in the next one.